Hi everyone, good afternoon to each and every person who has joined with us on time and before time. I really thank you and appreciate for joining for this session. We'll wait for a couple of more minutes. In next 5 minutes, we'll be starting the session. We'll wait for other professionals to also participate with us. Meanwhile, you can settle down. Thank you for joining in. So meanwhile, if we wait for as we wait for other participants and professionals who will be joining with us shortly, I would like to know, I can see almost few people have already joined with us live. So could you explain me about from which location you have joined and what profession are you currently working in? So you can highlight your name, from which city or state you are from, and what is your current profession that you are working currently. Could you just highlight in the chat box? There is a chat box option that there is an option of chat. You can interact with us. So I'm waiting for responses. Who will start first? Good afternoon. I can see Vidya has started. She is from Maharashtra, Mumbai. So Vidya could also just in one liner, could you tell me what profession are you currently in? So we have Akshay who's from Bangalore and Vijay from Pune. So Akshay, could you also highlight about your profession currently? So Vijay is a freelance equipment consultant. That's good to hear. We have Arzu, who is from Thane, Maharashtra. She is a certified counselor and a mindset coach. It's really good to see you, Arzu. We have Jagdish, who is from Hyderabad, working as a senior HR executive. I welcome you, Jagdish. Vidya is a facilitator with an MNC. Glad to know that. Thank you, Vidya. So I'm waiting for rest of the professionals who have not yet replied. Quickly, in another a minute or two, we'll be starting the session. I'm just waiting for other professionals to join in with us. I can see we have Aishwarya with us, who's from Bangalore, working as a program coordinator. Glad to know that, Aishwarya. If yeah, we have Manjunath, who's from Bangalore, and Manjunath is a career coach. So nice meeting you, Manjunath. So now it's sharp 4 p.m. as we intend on starting the session on time. So I'll be the host and the speaker for today's session. My name is Azim. Most of you would know me. I work as a business consultant with Edu Milestones for a very long period of time. I have been into consulting for more than 1,000 plus professionals from India and international as well. This is my collective experience. So why are we here? We are here to understand the HR competency analyst program, how it is beneficial for you, how it can solve your existing HR problems that you're facing. So we'll be discussing it very shortly. Here are the quick reminders and instructions before we start. You can use the chat box to communicate with us. We will also have a dedicated live Q&A segment wherein we will address all your questions. Whatever questions you have, we will get it addressed. You can put your questions on the chat. We have one member from our team who is closely monitoring the chat, and they will be collating all your questions, and we will address all your questions, whatever you have asked for. So stay tuned. So how, in case you have joined through mobile phone, then for better viewing experience, you can switch on the landscape mode, or if you're joined from laptop, you can make it as a full screen. So we'll also have exciting announcements waiting till the end. So stay tuned. I don't want you to exit in between. So for better understanding, I request all of the professionals who have participated today with us to stay till the end so that you uncover and understand more about the competencies. So stay tuned. Now, before we understand or get into the competencies, learn and understand more about the competencies, let us understand about edu milestones. I'm sure many of you who are here would not aware about edu milestones. Just to give you more in detail understanding about what is edu milestone, when we have started, and what we cater to. So we are into this domain for almost more than 14 years now. We cater to 45 plus countries, clients globally, including India. In India, we cater to more than 180 plus cities in India. We have clients from there. And we have won various prestigious awards and recognition. We have got the award for Asian Education Award. We have got the Education Innovation Award, World Brands Affairs Award, and really proud and excited to share this information with you all. And we are also the organizational members with 4 bodies, and we have been published with more than 10 plus news and research publications that I'll be showing in the upcoming slides. So this is been our forte. So here I present the award that we have been awarded from the Best Career Technology Platform Award. This is dedicated to all the professionals who have joined with me today. I'm really happy and excited to share this with all of you. Edu Milestones have been into the news and media for various projects and various reasons that we have get into solving the problems. So here is a snippet of the media that you can see. So here is the footprints of Edu Milestones clients that we are catering to for last in 45 plus countries. We are soon expanding beyond 45 countries in upcoming days going forward. So without much of wait, I would like to introduce Dr. Radha Padmanabhan. She has a very immense background of human resource management and psychology. She's been working for more than 20 plus years, having a intense industrial exposure and background. She has also worked even in learning and development as well. So she'll be the trainer for this, and she'll be the presenter for today's session. She will share much quality insights. She's been leading certified career analyst vertical from one side, and also she is handling this certified professional competencies vertical too. And she has so far mentored and trained more than 2,300 plus professionals till now. So I'm really happy to call upon Dr. Radha Padmanabhan. So over to you, Radha. I'm really happy and excited.
Thank you, Azim. Thank you very much for that introduction. Okay, so very good afternoon, warm afternoon to everyone who have joined here. And it is really impressive for our this meet today. I can see 80 plus people are actually in the session now. I'm really excited to be sharing a few insights about Certified Professional Competency Analyst Program, which is offered as a certification training from us. Okay, so without any further ado, I would like to share the screen. Just give me 1 minute. I'm starting to share the screen. Okay. Yes, I'm going to talk about Certified Professional Competency Analyst Program, right? So many of you might be wondering, what am I going to talk about? What is this Professional Competency Analyst? See, I have actually mentored many people who wanted to guide people on career perspectives. So many people have actually wanted to guide the youth population, even the students who are studying from the school. They would be doing a planning. We give a separate delivery of training program for that. But if you look at, for the adults who can be a fresher, or especially people who are employed, the employed category of people can be in their early career, mid-career, or even in their senior career levels, who are actually, aiming to thrive in their profession, whichever they are. As they are in their employment, every day in and day out, they'll have high-level interaction with an important functional resource called Human Resource Department, right? So this session, the key advantages can actually be more transferring knowledge to whoever are HR in this meet, in this forum, whoever are actually, people who are working in human resource roles in different hierarchy in any of the organizations, or if you are practicing HR consultancy. There are various interdisciplinary branches of HR consultancy. How you can actually provide a solution to people in choosing a career, or after having choosing a career, how they are possible to grow in their career. In this process, in managing human resource activities, or guiding people, or making all the employees of an organization as an asset. There had been days where the employees of an organization were considered only as an expense. Their conversion as an income to the company was never realized. It's the people from the HR who are actually bringing them to the limelight. Where in modern conglomerates, we have started seeing that certain resources who have not only stayed for a longer time in the organization have contributed and are listed as an asset in their company's balance sheet. Into finding how they have become a profit center to a company, the HR has lots of implementations, lots of ideations, lots of analytics, and lots of implementations. So there would be multiple pain points that an HR is likely to face as challenges. They will be able to handle, or you people will be able to handle, or anybody who is not even an HR, you can start thinking about your potential in contributing this way in your professional life. So how you can stand as a solution? We're going to be discussing about it today. So what are such pain points? If you take as a human resource professional, in different levels of hierarchy, what are the HR key facets that the HRs are actually likely to handle? There are HR generalist roles, or even there are HR specialist roles. Based on the organization's type and the type of resources available with the organization, there will be one person who is generally handling all the aspects, or there will be, specific areas where, they are distributed and delegated to manage. If that way, I can list at least a number of key areas that the HR resource would be handling. The first, obviously, we all know, which is about recruitment and talent acquisition. All the time, their analytics will be associated in hiring a right person for every work nature. So what is the job description? Who will be more appropriately fit for that particular job role? This is one key area as a human resource professional you will be handling. So what is the second area? Performance management. Once the hiring has happened, how an individual is able to perform and grow in the organization. Nobody chooses to stay in the same level of employment once they are hired. So what are the qualitative factors or soft skills about a person? How we can actually figure out as an HR and see if there is a gap and see how we can fill that gap. So the performance management is another one key area of management. And the third is the training and development. As the performance management identifies the scope of growth or scope of development in their skills, there are itemized or specific areas to be trained to a person. This can be a technical skill or a soft skill. Training and development is an interdisciplinary area of HR, where how the gap analysis is actually carried out and filled. Not only limiting to these three, and HR will also be responsible in handling the workplace culture and diversity. Because every environment has got different cultural, people coming from cultural backgrounds. How they all, mingle together and work with harmony. Creating an ambience to work. So that is also in the responsibility of an HR to be managed. Then the next is succession planning and also conflict resolution. So if a person is actually enrolling into an employment, in what span of time are they able to see moving to the next level? And what is the maximum level in how many years they would be able to keep growing? In the process, we have also observed there are multiple departmental functional areas which are inter-exchanged. The output of one functional area becomes an input to another functional area. In this process, there is a high-level interpersonal relationship to be maintained in a healthy way. So there can also be lots of conflicts which are actually developing. How to handle employee conflicts. So while that is also another area of management from an HR point of view. Now we have one another more, which is communication and feedback. Many times whoever are working in the organization, they always have a kind of an ambiguity whether the way I am carrying myself at my workplace or how the way I am delivering, is it right? Do I need improvement? Or where can I get, information which is actually very straight and positive and transparent? So as an HR, this communication is actually very healthily maintained by HR practitioners. Then employee retention. The whole world is facing attrition in different formats. The environments which are actually less populated or more populated, this is one strong challenge area that the HR professional will face. How to retain employees, because every resource who have joined an organization is a knowledge resource. They are having stayed for a certain stint. Being involved at work, they have actually become a knowledge source. So we should not be allowing any knowledge to be wasted as an HR. So how we can actually know where their strengths are and put them into the roles so that any kind of interdepartmental or intra-departmental functional exchanges of works, cross-functional works, which can be assigned to a person based on their strength. And last but not the least, the mental health. These days we are seeing in many social medias, very young people are actually having health-related problem where they are not able to manage their work stress. So human resource professionals' key responsibility also covers wellness and mental health at work. How a work-life and balance is created. So while all these are multiple responsibilities of a human resource professional, as a generalist taking up all these responsibilities as a single person, or taking up some specialty areas and trying to be precisely a service provider, this enhances definitely the brand image of the organization, right? Let me actually, be a little specific now. How we can actually, understand the different problems as an HR. Now you consider there is a resource. I'm giving you a case study here. There is an individual by name Sarah. She has high-level qualification and she has got an expertise in the field of her work. Now she has been hired as a sales profile person in an FMCG organization. What is FMCG? Fast-moving, consumer goods. She has the appropriate skills that she ought to have. And she's been hired as a sales manager. Right? For this person, what kind of issues that an HR might actually, possibly facing? So you can see here, despite her skills, right, her on-the-job performance is not so very effective. So always, an organization start expecting people with high skills and, with lot of related experience. They come with better knowledge, but having, been hired, they do not be able to see the actual performance, what is expected for the role. So what is the bottleneck? Where is the bottleneck of this situation when an HR is to approach? What is hindering Sarah to effectively perform in her job role? This is something which is in the responsibility of the human resource. This is coming under the performance management perspective. If I am showing this condition is an ideal candidate with a low performance. You can see an image. Can you take a quick minute and text in the chat? What do you observe by seeing this image? Can you please text in the chat so that I can also see? Azim?
Yes, Radha, we are waiting for the responses. So I request the professionals to comment in the chat.
Yes, please. So, correct. I can see Sri Rupa mentioning it as stagnation. Cycle is on stand and there is no traction. Padding is slow that the light is moving fast. Electric cycle. Potential is present but can't move ahead due to some issues. Exactly. Spot on answer. There is a lot of efforts put in, but there is no movement happening. It is very static. Wonderful. Wonderful. The system works, but there is no output. Exactly right. Now, let me also go to the next slide. Okay, here it is a high skill and a low performance. Now, I'll also keep that aside and then we will move to the another scenario. Here is an individual by name Manav who is actually got, a mediocre level of skills and qualification, not very high, and is hired as a marketing executive in a dynamic e-commerce company. But he is facing a lot of, non-performance. Even in his performance also, there is actually some misalignment. Though he has been hired as a marketing executive, he's trying to give a tough fight with whatever potential he's got. He's trying to perform. But his performance is very low. But he's doing a lot of hard work. There are certain skills like Excel or interpersonal relationship. All these are actually falling low in him. The skill sets are relatively low. But he is very passionate about his role. He enjoys doing the work, but he is actually struck because he doesn't hold the skills in order to perform that particular job. Because, his skill sets are very medium. For this person, what is hindering him from the performance? Where is the bottleneck to this situation? Here there is a low skill, but there is a higher interest. We know that interest is directly proportional to develop the skills, correct? But people who are holding skills, if they are not interested, we would not be able to bring an output in them. In this person, so what is the scenario? It is like a motorbike. What is required here? Fueling is required. The fuel is very less. Right? What kind of fueling is required on them? So this is anything related to the soft and the hard skills. Because there is a high intent. If intent is there, content can be developed. And the content has to be introduced and trained to them. So this is the third scenario. Second scenario. So which is the third scenario? Let us take a person in a human resource department by name Sapna has been hired. And the person is actually in that human resource department hired as a recruiter. It's a new startup company. And she's got a tough time of every day surfing about 100 plus resumes for the tech roles. Many of them are AI resume builders who have actually applied for the job roles. This is making Sapna to actually filter and also search the requirements. Specifically, Sapna is facing the problem to identify and shortlist candidates due to lack of distinctive information in the resumes. There is an homogeneity. Repeated, monotonous kind of aspects are actually being, observed in those profiles, which is significantly delaying her hiring process. She's not able to conclude. It's really becoming a high time challenge for her. If Swapna was to actually sort this out, what do you think is going to be a solution to it? As an HR, if you were to handle this situation, or if you were to suggest a solution for this situation, what do you think will be making an effective, recommendation? What would you recommend? Can I hear from you in the chat? How would you actually help Sapna to solve these problems? Many of you who are in the HR space are definitely likely to, have experienced this. Filtering the right candidate. So, where is the bottleneck to this situation? If you are an HR, right, I can see Manjunath says usage of AI tools. Use AI to weed all the AI generated responses. Yes. But that AI will have to detect certain key criteria for that rule of elimination. Of course, yes, you're recommending for a deductive reasoning. You're applying, any kind of rules for elimination. But what kind of rules are going to be the components of the elimination? Volume is bottleneck. The objective is that. Our objective is actually to taper down the volume, downsize the volume. But what do you think? Yes, the information is required for the skills and abilities, correct? So you will be searching for certain keywords, correct? All right. The bottleneck to this situation is competency. The key competencies are to be, identified whether that person is actually suitable or not. Or to sort out these situations, we need to be doing a competency mapping. Correct? So what is this competency mapping? I did observe what is a competency. Many of you actually texted about skills and abilities. Before we get the skill and ability, we have to get the knowledge, the right knowledge. Knowledge is what you know. Skill is what you can do. And ability is how do you apply your skills and where do you apply that skill. But largely, in any hiring process or managing performance processes, we see only Lots of importance given to knowledge, skills, and abilities. The key component behavior, which is driving all the above three, are actually, not considered or less considered. What is this behavior? Why do you do this task? Knowledge, skill, ability, and behavior connected to a person, to a particular role, is called as competency map. Behavior is also something which has to be significantly included in a competency mapping. Yes, this image should be actually well familiar to you. This is known as famous iceberg model of competency. Okay, this was given by David McClelland. If you can look at this, there is a proportionate percentage of 20 and 80%. Most of the organizations are only hiring and giving opportunities for people in employment by seeing the surface competencies.
Hi everyone, sorry for the delay. She is facing some network issues. She'll be back right after a few minutes. So I request everyone to wait for a few more minutes. She'll be right back. Meanwhile, I would like to also understand so far Dr. Radha, which she covered the topic in terms of competencies. I hope you have understood it. Any questions on whatever she has covered till now, you can put the questions in the chat. So we'll be taking up all your questions in the live Q&A segment. We'll make sure that we address most of the questions in the Q&A. So we have Sri Rupa is asking the session, how long is the session? So session will be for 1.5 to 2 hours, including the live Q&A. So we have Vijay who's asking, I need a mail ID to send our feedback on the session. Sure, Vijay. Our team will be reaching out to you. You can share the feedback. So we have a couple of more questions coming in from Sumaya, who is asking what knowledge is necessary to start a HR consultancy. So Sumaya, Dr. Radha will be covering more from the competency side of it. And using this competencies, you can actually integrate in starting your own HR consulting business as well. So our topic for today's session is more towards the competencies, how competencies can address the various problems in HR, learning and development. So we have another question from Varinder, who's asking, can a career counselor also take this up? Yes, Varinder, and career counselor can also take this up. So we have a next question from Gerard Line, who's asking, can a career counselor also, it's will we get a recording of this webinar? So I've informed our team in case to request for the recording. So I request all the professionals not to share any personal information here in the chat. So we have Ashish who's asking what kind of AI tools that are absolutely necessary for HR consultancy to start and offload. Yes, AI is necessary. So those questions I'll be taking in the live Q&A so that Dr. Radha can address those questions. So Dr. Radha has joined with us.
Yes. One moment, please.
Yeah.
One moment. Yeah. There was an internet problem.
Sure, no problem.
I'm so sorry, there was some internet problem. Azim, can you please help me from where the presentation was stopped?
Yes, Radha, it was from the competency part you were covering. Iceberg
Okay.
model, yeah.
Okay, I hope I'm audible now.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. So I'll once again recap the iceberg model. The competency mapping is if it is based on the surface competencies. If large focus is only on the skills or the knowledge, that contributes hardly 20% in an individual's performance towards the role. They are only surface competencies. But the core competencies include one's own interest. One moment, please. Sorry for the disturbance, I'm so sorry. competencies. This includes not only the interest, it includes their own personality and their personal values towards the work. How they are able to brand themselves for that work, for themselves in that work ambience, and accordingly develop the traits and the skills and the motives for it. These are actually considered as contributor towards the core. So this is actually as per the iceberg model that we would like to bring this to your knowledge. Okay, so the competency mapping. This is a systematic process used to identify and document the key competencies required for every successful job role. Successful performance is going to be signified towards an organizational development. It involves a clear framework. So what specific skills, what knowledge is essential, and how the ability can be measured, and how the behaviors that individual process, which makes them excel in their roles. So all these are actually part and participles of competency mapping. Now in competency mapping, you can see there are three key attributes, right? Knowledge, skills, and behavior. When you look at knowledge actually, discovers what is actually technically know-how, and also standard updates about the industry, and then how it is being outreach to the consumers. This is knowledge. Skill is communication, and then it can be about planning and also task management. While behavior is about how persuasive and how much they are actually, looking to develop and see the highest level possible with a lot of creative or innovative thinking. So all these are actually also attributes of competency mapping. So how do you observe this from a person? First, this framework needs to be set for every role, so that during the hiring process, it can be a new hiring or for an internal job posting on succession planning, we can conduct psychometric test to identify or detect this from every individual. There are a number of psychometric tests which are available. Some of them include a personality test or an emotional quotient analysis, or it can include interest-based test or aptitude-based test for skills and abilities. It can also include to take higher and higher additional level of responsibilities through leadership test, and also situational judgment test. There are a number of tests that we can actually execute to identify the strengths of a person. See, if there is a skill and ability, of course, yes, we would have a gradation for it. Aptitude test can actually help that. But how do we measure the behavior of a person? If it is a body weight or any kind of an object's weight, we can have a weighing scale. Or if it is anything related to the temperature, we can have a thermometer. But how do we measure the behavior? To even measure the behavior, we are prescribing certain psychometric assessment tools. And they need to be highly standardized. And there has to be, quantitative method of evaluating the observed variables. This can be personality traits and other different psychological factors, and they have to be followed with a proper structure. Every observation needs to be properly recorded and evaluated. This is what we call it as a psychometric assessment. For different job roles, the psychometric assessments variables can also go different. See, today we are going to discuss about few personality tests that we can provide psychometric assessments. One is Big Five. This is normally mostly used in the modern days. There are some conventional theories, which is MBTI, DISC, or Cattell 16 personality factor theory, even dark trait personality theories. I will be today giving a brief snippet about how to understand Big Five. But before that, other than if you are to observe an or advanced Excel, that is about the also can be included in our psychometric test. Certain functional domain test, specifically for a person in sales role, or people who are into operations. This can be into tech operations or financial operations, or business and marketing operations, or marketing as a core role, or customer support. These are all functional domain tests. And when it is coming from abilities, the aptitude test can reasoning, whether it is logical reasoning connected with inductive reasoning or deductive reasoning or 360-degree cognitive, numerical, mathematical knowledge, spatial and visualization skills, clerical and administration skills, verbal and communication skills, and also mechanical skills. So all these can be included in the aptitude test. Azim, am I audible?
Yes, Radha.
Okay, thank you. So we can also include emotional quotient analysis. Many times there can be many things which are actually not in an appropriate proportion. One can be they have emotional attachment to the job, but they are not holding the skills. Or sometimes they have been navigated to an area by having certain basic skills, but they are not at all interested in that area. They are not able to compete with others in the environment. People who are finding a right match basis their behavior, their emotional quotient is high. When they are in an environment which is not matching their behavior and not able to understand why that gap is there, we see their emotional quotient is down. There are a number of emotional quotient tests also. Okay. Next is the interest-based test and leadership test, situational judgment test. All these can apply in doing a competency mapping. One of the tests that, what we have derived a question bank to conduct a psychometric test is from the famous Big Five model of theory. To give you a quick snippet about the history of this particular psychological model. This was originally developed in the 20th century during 1970. There were a lot of data analysis done about it. And it was widely, accepted in the HR industry. Like how it has been validated. Originally, it was actually Kano, and currently it is known as Ocean model. What is this ocean model telling us about understanding the personality of a person at work, so that we can frame their competency, structure? As you can understand, the functional and the technical competencies are required. But the core competencies are connected with the organization's vision, mission, and goals. Here you can include ownership and accountability, customer focus, ethical conduct, drive of mastery, and then reliability and consistency and flexibility. For this, what you can include into the functional competencies. Now, if you take an functional area, or in the area of accounts, or in HR, or in IT, or also in sales, if these functional areas you are considering as functional competencies essential. Here you can include a process management and also a leadership and development management, and also the time management as crucial competencies under a functional area of operations. When you look at for accounts, you will have to also adaptability. Now, for accounts, you can include ethical judgment, then organization skills, detailed oriented and also analytical skills. For HR, you can include interpersonal skills, confidentiality, conflict resolution, and also initiative taking. For IT, multitasking, problem solving skills, continuous learning, and also critical thinking. And for sales, negotiation skills, enterprising mindset, open to experience, active listening, and also emotional intelligence. So these are all the functional competencies expected for every individual job roles. These are the most predominant functional areas at any industry. Now, for all these, the technical competencies, what all it can be? Tech operations, data processing, in case of accounts, financial analysis and accounting and auditing. In case of HR analytics and database management. Then if you look at, for IT, software proficiency and coding, and for sales CRM knowledge and data analysis and reporting. This is how we are recommending a competency framework to be, applied. For every role, we can create such kind of competency mapping, a framework. So the process of competency mapping includes 8 important attributes. What are they? First is organizational goals. Next includes job analysis. Then you have the process of identifying the key competencies. Once that is done, then you create a competency framework for every job role. And prescribe a psychometric model for it. And then administer the psychometric test. From the test results, doing an actual interpretation of identifying if gap any. And this interpretation helps us in either selecting the candidate to the role or rejecting the candidate for the role, or even we see that there is a scope for training and developing them. This kind of decision making can be done. The process of competency mapping includes all the 8. Now, how do we actually construct this? The psychometric theories, we will talk about it. How can we derive competency based on psychometric theories? Functional competency mapping, various profiles. All these we have actually, so far checklisted. Now, how do we construct it? If I'm going to talk about one particular personality test in this session, which can be a very less input about what we deliver in the training program, what is offered. It's just a snippet. Okay, now this Big Five personality model is famously known as Ocean model, where you can see 5 personality traits are observed from an individual. O here stands for openness to experience. What does openness to experience mean? C stands for conscientiousness. E stands for extroversion and A stands for agreeableness, while N stands for neuroticism and emotional stability. So what is openness to experience? This is about, ready to experience risk. Now we can differentiate this into O minus and O plus. Because when we are observing the responses, the measurement can be, in a bipolar range. It can be measured between 0 to 100, while the median is at 50%. 50% plus to 100 is actually represented as plus. Less than 50% is interpreted as minus. So it can be indicated as O minus or O plus. So when you look at what are all the characteristics of a person while being at O minus, you can see they follow guidelines. They are very pragmatic. They would like to avoid any risk, very calculative and very rational and also conservative. They don't step beyond the boundary. These are people who are less in openness to experience. We are listing them as O minus. What is O plus? Very explorative, very curious, and very much excited to take risk. Receptive to keep changing, doesn't want monotony, and very tolerant on uncertainties. These are all the specific attributes to differentiate with a person who is high in openness to experience or low in openness to experience. So they are interpreted or denoted with O minus or O plus. Now you check at the second trait, which is conscientiousness. So here again you measure them in a bipolar scale. So what is C minus quality? You can see the person would choose to be very flexible. They require, freedom. They would like to be carefree, not actually restricted. Choose to easy go with things and also very spontaneous. But on the other side, when you look for C plus, they choose to be highly organized, requires a framework, and demands for a reliability quotient. Very consistent, and also enjoy planning and seeks achievement. So C minus and C plus is all about the difference in taking up the sense of accountability, responsibility, right? And the third factor is about extroversion. Choice to be among people or being alone. So this is actually not being very inhibitive or shy or being a talkative person. This is about how they choose to learn when they derive energy. So you can see an E minus is more choosing to be alone, introverted. They choose to be very reserved, relaxed, and applying their own mind whenever they want to learn. But on the other side, when you look at extrovert, they are more outgoing. They would choose to socialize with others and be among people and want to be very friendly and keep talking to people, outspoken and also energetic. Both of them hold energy. The extroversion E plus holds an energy when they are among people. And E minus also sources actually able to focus and concentrate by being alone, because their mind will always be looking to reflect on things, right? Next is agreeableness. Here this is about building relationship. People who are A minus, they are very assertive, very skeptical, very devious, and also autonomous and indifferent. They choose to actually, limit with all what they are doing. But people who are actually A plus, they are very friendly, compassionate, care for others and being warm, gullible, and also they choose to be cooperative and establish trustworthiness. So A minus and A plus are differentiating with this bipolar scaling. Next, we also have neuroticism. This is called the emotional stability or the control that a person is possible to maintain at work. N minus is being calm, let anything happen down, and very confident, self-confident, and very bold and also emotionally stable. Nothing can actually impact them which can disturb them. And they are actually careful. Let anything happen. I won't keep worrying. But people who are, N plus, they are always anxious, pensive, and they are very impulsive. They would be looking for what can be done instantly. And would be very reactive also, and more self-conscious, and we always looking about yielding. What can I get? What should I do? So that kind of thought process will be driving them. So N minus and N plus. So we have seen 5 personality traits, and in each personality trait, we have seen 2 opposite variants of behavior can be observed from an individual. So in the people at work, for the roles required or for the individual's personality, we can see anybody is possible to have any trait dominant in them. So the trait has to be, permutated. We can build by mixing the traits, different coefficients. So the competency mapping done using the Big 5 as a personality, if you are going to check about few, the competencies that we are actually looking for. This is a quiz. I hope you all have got a fair understanding about what is this Big 5. If there is a competency which is connected with planning and organizing, okay, so you need to say, you can also text in the chat here, what kind of competency need to be low or high for planning and organizing. Can you give your answers here, please? Azim?
Yes, Radha, I'm waiting for the responses.
Yes.
We have not received any responses now. I request all the participants to put your responses. We have Ulka who started. She's saying hi.
What is highly required? Which competency, which personality trait is highly required for planning and organizing? Ulka, you mentioned high. Correct. So Roslyn has given a right answer. So requires high conscientiousness. Right. C plus is required. Perfect. Okay. Second competency that we can look for is actually, I have published one part of the answer. Team leadership and development. High extroversion is required. Can you think of the other traits required for this team leadership and development? amongst openness to experience, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and also neuroticism. Which do you think are actually required additionally, other than extroversion? Azim, are there responses?
Yes, Radha, we have Sri Rupa is saying inclusivity.
Inclusivity, that is connected with which trait, Sri Rupa? Whether is it connected with a plus or minus of openness to experience or conscientiousness or agreeableness or neuroticism? Okay, let me publish the answer. A mid-level of agreeableness and a low level of neuroticism. N minus is required. Clear? Now, next is adaptability. So, can you think of the personality traits which will match for adaptability?
So we have got the responses like openness, agreeable.
Okay. Agreeableness and openness to experience. Perfectly right answer. And it also requires a low level of neuroticism. Okay. All the three are fused together. Then emotional regulation. What is required? Which is required? Azim, you are able to see?
No, we don't have any responses. Raghav is saying C plus, Sri Rupa N, Roslyn minus N.
Minus N is the right answer. Okay, a good clap to Shirupa. Okay, and then interpersonal ability. Extroversion is one. Do you think anything else is required for interpersonal ability?
So Mahalakshmi is saying C plus, Sarang is saying C minus.
No.
Nidhi Srivastava minus N.
Minus N is actually essential. Okay, perfect. So finally, for goal-oriented, what go-getter, what competency is more required?
We have Raghav who is saying C plus.
C plus and N minus. So it's excellent. I think you have been able to follow what is actually, discussed, or you might have already been doing this day in and day out. Of course, yes, your response is actually superb, right? See, this is one part of the competency analysis. In fact, competency analysis should be done on a multi-dimensional approach. This integration should include personality as one particular dimension, skill and ability as another dimension, even the interest for that work as one of the dimension. Then you can also include the emotional quotient. When you bring all these four together, when they integrate, you can see for that particular job role, they become a perfectly right fit. They are the topmost fit for that particular role. There can also be a second category of people whom you can identify as good fit. Not a top fit, but they are a good fit. Right? So, the third can be who are optional and not a good fit. Your competency mapping on all these four dimensions can help you to identify which of these are actually, more appropriate to them. Right? And accordingly, this can be for a person who is being newly hired, or it can be a person who is going to be having a career graph of different levels of job responsibilities in the same domain. There are different performance evaluation methods that HR are practicing. One can be a 360-degree analysis, where there are actually inputs gathered from the internal and external stakeholders, especially like in the customer support roles, a feedback mechanism. Or there is a top-down, reporting system, managerial evaluation. There is also another model called 9-box grid model, a balanced scorecard. So this also can be introduced in your organizations till date if it is not actually, a part of it. So what is this 9-box grid model? It creates a proper qualitative competency analysis and quantitative performance analysis. So it puts people into 9 different cells, and accordingly look for how we can improve performance in them or develop performance in them. The performance improvement plan or the performance development plan can be articulated using this 9-box grid model. Okay, so ultimately identifying the training needs, establish the objectives, select the training methods, and deliver training and evaluate performance. And again identify. So this is a cyclic process. So this 9-box grid model will help, articulating this for a continuous performance from all level of employees. There are multiple skill-based tests also available, or there are multiple, functional skill-based tests also, trainings also. Then behavioral-based trainings also can be recommended. And finally, we should be able to prescribe the competency framework. If you have had some reasonable understanding through this workshop, try doing this kind of competency analysis with various theories which you are already aware. But we also give you a proper, knowledge about it in the training program conducted by us. But before that, to see that whether you need a training program and certification so that you are competent enough to perform in the areas of HR, in the hiring process or in managing the performance in the employees, whichever the role as an intrapreneur or an entrepreneurial consultant in HR. If you think these knowledge areas and certifications are with you required, then you are welcome to join our training program, right? So you can try experimenting yourself. Create a job role for a lead software engineer. As per the key responsibilities, you try to create a competency framework. Another one at a middle senior level as a regional sales manager. Then a senior financial analyst. For all these roles, even for a project manager, you try working on this competency framework for these roles. If you really have a question at your back of your mind, do I need a training on these? And will this training structurally, give me this knowledge so that I am able to do all these activities as an HR professional in my own organization where I am working. Or I am an HR consultant. I am doing a consulting for another company where there is a lot of activities related to recruitment and performance management going on. Can I take up those responsibilities as a business opportunity for me? So how can I upsell myself that I am more fit to do this for their organizational development? You attempt doing it yourself. But in case, if you find a lot of complexities, don't even worry. We are offering you a training. Okay? So in this training, what all will come? So these are all the competency mappings. Alright? So we give it to you in a 5-day workshop. How to practically use and apply different psychometric concepts, and competency mapping is done, right? Now, in day 1, we train you about the HR facets and the problems in detail. Today it was a very compressed session. Of course, I do also ask for apologies that I had some internet issues. Possibly, if you have not fully clearly justified with the understanding, I'm so sorry for it. And secondly, you will have an in-depth detailed understanding on the competency mapping and the classification of the different competencies and different type of competencies at functional and also the technical competencies. In day 2, we give you knowledge about introduction to different psychometric assessments based on different theories. To begin with, we will discuss in detail about MBTI and Big 5, and then functional competency based on these 2 theories, how you can create a framework. Then we will also include the attributes of DISC, Holland, dark trade, leadership. All these theories are going to be independently covered to you in depth. After learning them on an application point of view, how do you integrate them? One-dimensional versus multi-dimensional, how you can see a dramatic usefulness. And then we can also discuss on different case studies on multi-dimensional approach. And day 4, we will be discussing about the competency assessment worksheet. Performance evaluation methods, competency assessment. In fact, this 9-box grid model, the balanced scorecard system, it must have actually definitely impressed you. If you would like to have an in-depth, equipped knowledge on this, all these are delivered in the structured training program. These 4 days training will be helpful for you to build the knowledge, practice and develop the required competencies as an HR to hire and also manage performance. Okay? But if you feel that all these are very laborious to be doing manually, if you think that all these how can it be simplified? We are also giving you an AI-based tool. Many of you actually hinted in the chat to do this competency mapping through AI. The tool what we offer. Using the tool, how you can conduct the psychometric test. We have already developed the competency framework for 60+ work natures. How to use them, how to apply them, how to evaluate. And if you would like to add more, attributes to it, how you can customize for any kind of different unique roles. How to create funnels, all these using the platform. We also provide you a co-branded platform in your own name in case you choose to sign up also for the HR Miles platform. Though this program is to give you an overview about what we cover in this CPCA training. The day 5 training can actually equip you with how to effectively use the tech platform, which is AI driven. Okay, so the AI based application in HR practices. All these are actually going to be delivered in a 5-day workshop. So people who have chosen only for CPCA, you will have a 4 days training, and the 5th day training will go for the HR Miles. So with this, I am concluding my presentation, I hope I did some justice. I'm once again, seeking apology for the internet issues that I actually experienced. I hope the presentation was useful. And if you may have any questions, please feel free to post your questions in the chat. We'll have an exclusive session discussion for the live Q&A, and our colleagues will be able to moderate the questions, where I'm happy to give you my version of explanation for it. Thank you one and all for the wonderful opportunity. Azim, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Radha, for wonderful explanation and giving wonderful insights about competency analysis. It was really good, and I can see many of the professionals have participated, and I can vouch for it because most of them were answering the correct answers from the quiz segment that we had for the product. Thank you so much. So moving on further. So for all those passionate professionals who want to learn more about competency analyst training, Edu Milestones provide 1 month dedicated certified professional competency analyst training. So here we'll be covering more than 20 plus modules to learn professional competencies and how you can do the competency analysis, likewise, which Radha has explained. You will also learn more than 280 plus competencies and their analysis. You will also learn 14 plus psychometric assessments and how to do the analysis. You will also learn comprehensive organizational and functional based competency. You will know how to frame a competency framework. There will also be a capstone project and certification. You need to clear the capstone project. You need to complete it. And for that also, there will be a certain percentage of marks awarded for it to get certified. And then you will have an exam and certification. These are the deliverables. It takes 1 month time to complete the training and get certified. So here is the certification that you will be getting after you complete the training. That is certificate of completion. That is highly accredited by ACCPH UK, which is a UK body. So this, you could be the next in case you're planning to pursue this.